What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will be discussing the Shane Dawson apology video that just dropped called Taking Accountability. So I will be discussing all the topics that he covered in his video. But before we get into anything, you already know what you got to do. Click that subscribe button, hit that bell, getting the notifications when I post new videos, and click that like button, letting me know you're liking the stuff that I'm putting out. So without wasting any more time, let's get into this video. All right, so in Shane's apology video, he discusses three topics: blackface, um, questionable behavior with children, and the James 4-page letter, as Sanders Kennedy likes to call it. So first off, we'll talk about the blackface. So he briefly goes over all the incidences of blackface that he's done over his entire YouTube career and how questionable they were, and he realized that they were just bad things, and he knew back then that they were bad, but again, he was so caught up in his ego that it wouldn't allow him to realize the error of his ways. So I'll give him the fact that he's actually admitting the problem. Doesn't really justify it, but at least he's admitting it, and he's digesting and understanding the fact that he messed up. And I can't ask more of that of a person, but I mean, I'll give him that. At least he admits it. He said he did his research and he realized how truly offensive what he was doing was. And so he said from then on, he hasn't been doing anything remotely close to blackface or any of that such. So that's neither here nor there. All I've seen are still shots. I've never actually seen any of his actual videos. And personally, I don't care to watch anybody attempt to do blackface because, again, if you understand the historical context of it, then you know it's trash. And I refuse to watch any of that type of material because I'm just not going to do that. So, on to the next topic where he talks about some of his old podcasts and some of them where he talks about questionable behavior with children. And he discussed an instance where he did a video with his cousin and it was just very inappropriate and uncomfortable. And he just it not sit well with him, even though he said his family thought it was funny. He personally himself just felt mortified by the whole situation and he just did not want to associate himself with that type of material. Good, because that's just weird. And just know that anything with children should just be off limits. Any type of questionable behavior with children should be off limits as a grown man. It's just weird. Just know. And so all of that. But of course, the big kahuna, the big elephant in the room that everybody was waiting for him to talk about, he addresses right at the very end. So he apologizes to James for basically the main statement that got him in the most trouble, which was he deserved a slice of humble pie the size of the Empire State Building. He admitted that he should not be saying that based off of his previous behavior, and the fact that that even came out of his mouth was just completely uncalled for. And I guess thank you for finally saying it, because there was no justification for you saying that in the first place. That should have never come out of your mouth, period. No one has the right to tell anybody what they deserve on this earth, ever. No one, not even me. And I'm just a peon in this YouTube game. Why you even thought that, of all people, you should be saying that is where I find it laughable. And then you glossed over the fact that you probably shouldn't have written that letter in the first place, which we all could concur with. That letter was problematic all over the place. Basically, he said it came from a place of anger and basically of him trying to say that he had nothing to do with it. I still think you had something to do with it. Um, how much we don't know, but I still feel like you played a part in that whole situation, and you still didn't quite address that. You kind of just glossed over it and kind of put a band-aid on it. And it was just basically saying, "Oh, I really apologize for what it." Yeah. And even then, you tried to be self-deprecating through the whole video, saying, "If you don't want to accept my apology, I completely understand. I've had to learn to grow up and realize that not everybody has to accept your apology." I mean, I thank you for that inference, but it still doesn't change the fact that you still want to be friends with some very problematic people who have had very problematic past and still do questionable behavior today. The very person you will apologize to, that man still refuses to apologize for allegations that at this point are false because you have yet to drop your quote unquote proof that you say that you have. If you're going to make claims like that, then Boo Boo Kitty, you better be able to back it up. So, you still being friends with said problematic person still does not absolve you of responsibility in the situation. The fact that you knew about it and you didn't tell him, you like this, I'm not going to discuss that. No, you wanted to put all that out in the open. You better lay it out. And then basically he claimed, he's like, well, he said, I talked about the beauty community as if I was a part of it, and I never really was, and I agree with that. I was never a part of it. Thank you for finally addressing that and making that known, because we all would, I'm sorry, Samantha read you for filth. Like, she legit read you for filth. You, again, you never put out an actual look. And if there were any looks that were created, they were done by somebody else. And one of them being the people you had to apologize to in this video. So it's really rich that you just felt so egotistical and in your feelings to say something like that out in the general public, and thinking that you wasn't gonna get no backlash simply because you're Shane Dawson. Like, no, that's not how this world rolls. And the fact that you just were trying to lump everybody in the beauty community in this one massive bubble. We ain't all problematic like your butt. Most of us live relatively normal lives. We go about our days in a general type of way, and we don't sit here trying to cause drama with other people simply for views. Like, that's just not what we do. And the fact that you thought that the whole beauty community was like that is where I find it real funny. Most of us just want to put on makeup and tell you about products that are good or bad. But you just seem to think that we're just all about drama. No, it's the very people that you hang out with who are mostly about drama. It ain't about anybody else. I'm sorry. You like to, and he's like, well, I tend to gravitate towards people who I feel are broken and I feel that need my help and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, again, still problematic because you can't fix everybody. Not everyone, and that's even for me as a teacher. I've had to realize that there are some kids that I will just not be able to reach. And you just need to understand, as a person with your limited amount of skill set, you will not be able to reach everyone. And so a lot of people in your inner circle that you want to reach and that you want to help fix and that you want to show their good side, sometimes it ain't even possible. Because as much as he has said and stated that he doesn't want to be in the drama anymore, he's still creating drama behind the scenes. It's not just one person saying this, it's multiple people with text message proof. Now, yes, can that proof be quote unquote questionable? Absolutely. It could be very questionable. But the fact that people are still saying to this day that he is still stirring up drama behind the scenes just so that he can get the heat off of him doesn't, it's questionable. So the fact that you, at the end we're like, well, I'm going to try and, work on myself and try to change myself through actions. That's great. We're going to wait to see it. And please know that if you don't, we will be sitting there waiting to call you out on it, because generally, as a human being, like you said, you need to be able to take criticism. And sometimes not all criticism is coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of us being human beings and seeing flaws in people. Like, we can see it. Most of us can. And so you sitting there in your letter acting holier than thou got you in big trouble. And so it forced you to have to come out with this apology. And again, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll give you credit for discussing some things, but for the most part, it's going to take a lot for you to rectify a lot of this. Like, it's going to take a lot, because you did some damage with your words, and you now need to take a step back and really think through everything you said. So, if you enjoyed this little podcast style video, please comment down below. Tell me what your thoughts are on the apology video and how you registered it and what your opinions are. So again, comment down on that below. And before we leave, you already know what you got to do. Make sure you click that subscribe button and hit that bell, getting the notifications when I post new videos. And until next time, guys, deuces.